right, it is February 2nd, 2021. State stalking underway. License plate 8KCK913. The state is stalking at B&G Plaza via fire, and they're on the cameras at Andy's Burgers. That will be their arrival with simultaneity to my arrival at the intersection of Transit and Plum under the fake sun, which is over the ice rink. I've already documented this. This is fire truck with T131 on the front of it. The fire truck driver remains in the truck, ignition running, as they get out and go into Andy's Burgers under the state's fake sun, monitoring with these group stalkers in the drive-thru, in the business place. It's P.O.C. It's just the state doing it directly. Who is monitoring with them? That is 8KXW408, and the fire truck license plate is 1255773. Parked on what is Transit, right beside the ice skating rink, and I've captured direct video and pictures of the state's fake sun directly over that venue at 201 on Transit. This is P.O.C., and that's the state stalking via fire, arriving as I arrive at the venue. Third-party group stalkers acting with it is Ryder, a large white truck parked right in front of Andy's. Understand that's concerted conduct. I'll read off that information in a second. I got this license plate. This is paper BH44W08, 6XBW988. In the drive-thru, 8EVN939. Understand at 201 Transit at the skating rink, they are monitoring, okay? That is directly across the street. This is why the state engages in stalking with light. 94439C3, 6A14058, 5WSB144, 6MCS178. 58711N1, 30631N1, 6HLK141. And referencing the cameras at Andy's Burgers where they're monitoring, but I'm referencing their security cameras because that is P.O.C. This is where the state entered into this venue, a third-party facilitating venue, and via fire, engaging in what is relevant positioning, okay? Under and acting directly as opposed to, well, actually not as opposed to, it's in concert with the third party, that is the people of the state of California that surround at B&G Plaza. That's the state appearing directly to be documented and directly incriminating the third parties that remain in relevant position. 8PMN049. Understand at 150 East Holt Boulevard, the Ontario Health Center, they're monitoring, sitting in their vehicles in the parking lot, engaging in what I have referred to as the soundtrack. As I walk down the street, you just hear a series of car doors closing as I pass. That's called stalking with activity. That's the group conduct. And they do so as I am walking down Transit, walking eastbound Transit, and they are sitting in their cars in anticipation of my walking from the museum. Understand that. While the state is engaged in ceaseless flight directly over me at the museum via plane and helicopter, they're monitoring. This is license plate 6RVP995. 6YWR58, I'm sorry, I'll have to read that one again. 7YWR584. So let me give you an example, and this is how you can literally just recite down all the license plates. At Ultra Personnel, you have a third-party group stalker. He is a third party. He is representing the people of the state of California. If he is not an American citizen, he's going to be deported. This is federal violation that he's engaged in federal law, monitoring on behalf of a government that is engaged in ongoing stalking, which is already established. The state is stalking with light. You do so when you're monitoring via communication devices, and him claiming to be on a job is legally irrelevant. This is how a public entity monitors you. At Ultra Personnel, they are sitting out in front. This is just one example because they're all in relevant position inside of the plaza. The planes, the state just got through amplifying the sound of plane engines. You got a group stalker sitting in their car right here beside me, 6AEM451. You have a group stalker sitting right here in front of Ultra Personnel. The address here is 326 Suite E. The door open, he's standing in front of the door. You got a group stalker sweeping the floor. They're standing behind the desk. Guess what? They're all in relevant position, and the state has created the environment for what is federal group stalking and monitoring, and there is no claim whereby they're stating they're sweeping the floor, they're standing outside, they're trying to get people hired for jobs, and it is legally irrelevant. This is ongoing monitoring, and the elements remain present. And this is proof of presence. These are the federal repercussions where a government is monitoring. I have already explained this, but I'm just giving you an example of what you're going to see on surveillance cameras as I'm engaging in what is real-time, ceaseless criminal monitoring by a government, ultra personnel representing the government. The state has made itself intentionally present through them vicariously. And not only is that not just a happenstance. So, for example, ultra personnel engaging in their formation of a business before, for example, let's say before I started documenting what is monitoring conduct. All right, but you're talking about the existence of the criminal system. So whenever the targeted individual becomes aware of it and you begin documenting it, that is not in any way precluding prosecution of the people of the state of California. The state is operating through these people. They are present, and the purpose of federal law, of federal prosecution, is to disincentivize an ability for a government to operate through those people. All of them shall be isolated at federal prosecution. There is no claim whereby you're stating you live here, you work here, you were buying this, you were going there, you were doing this, you were with a child, you were going to have a child. It does not matter. You are talking about that is posing a direct threat to the very life, physical safety, and overall well-being of a target individual who is being monitored by a government and is doing so necessarily through the group presence of the people of that state who are engaged in constant, intentional, malicious conduct for that criminal purpose. I have identified and documented the behavioral pattern. So it's not just a matter of ultra personnel being present in this B&G Plaza. That's not just coincidence, okay? That is not a matter of coincidence. What I am saying is the ongoing presence and their engagement in what is activity creation, their engagement in what is light activity creation, their engagement in what is crossing path via vehicle, via walking paths in any manner. This is the behavioral pattern, and this is not isolated to any individual. This is the group conduct. It is entirely malicious conduct, regardless of where a third party happens to be positioned, wherever their business happens to be located. Monitoring conduct, relevant positioning, which is group stalking, is premised upon the location of the targeted individual where monitoring is centered, not on where some group stalker claims they belong. Okay, that's what it's based on, because that's where the government is going. That's where the state is going with its fake sun. That's where the state is going with its impossible light activity. That's where the state is going via through the people of the state of California who are maintaining group presence, stalking, literally, conspicuously and inconspicuously, both directly through police, fire, and ambulance, as I'm documenting again on another day, and through the people of the state of California. All right, so as I'm walking down Holt Boulevard, they're all monitoring inside of B&G Plaza. And all they have to do is be at work to do so, by the way. There is no claim whereby you are in any way subject to any legal excuse under federal law. This is the prosecution of the entity, and this is how the entity monitors. It is not a coincidence. This is why the state's light source is over this venue. This is why the state is engaged in stalking via aircraft and police, fire, and ambulance at this venue, which is shared at every other place that I go. They are monitoring, ultra personnel is monitoring, and that is the legal argument, period. All right? License plate, GETAFAD, get a FAD. License plate. UKA 794, 7ZQA 817, in case I didn't read that one. Leaving right now on a Honda Accord, burgundy Honda Accord, headed toward what is the transit back street. Group stalkers piling in, license 8SXE119, 8TFV343, 8PMN 049, in case I didn't read that one already, 8LC1167. The people of the state of California are prosecuted not only by the state's conduct, which prefaces the people of the state of California engaged in that system with it, and necessarily so. The state cannot monitor an American citizen on a ceaseless basis at all places and at all times, including inside of any state facilitating venues such as a court and a jail, which is the ongoing system. I already read license 7YWR584. 5RLK367, 8MAF571, 6LIJ412, 8LIG159, 8LRD613. That's Omnitrans making itself clear. creating audible activity under light, which is created by the state because that's not the sun, and they're in relevant position. They're engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. 09151N1. 41756D2. DARKWLF. TFAM4EV. 7MHS 624 6RZV 447. 7TNZ 903. BJ53V13, that's a paper plate. 8KVY 629. 8NCT 717. 7NNV 535. 5ZGC 930. And 1591825. This is a commercial vehicle. It says Terex Utilities. It's being used for purposes of monitoring. It is the City of Ontario. They are egregious group stalkers and sex offenders. Vehicle number 8054, California license 40424. All right, another City of Ontario quickly coming around the corner with light on the vehicle, license 1602417, vehicle number 8061. Blinking lights on the truck, parked on the opposite side of the street, facing the wrong direction, making sure that they are keeping me surrounded with light as I'm walking down this venue. That's P.O.C, that's the same criminal actor, that's City of Ontario. That is vehicle, California license number 40424, same license number, license 8061. Okay, that is pulling up with their hazards, facing the wrong direction on the street, making sure they're approaching me with light activity, which is what that is as I am walking toward this direction. That's the stalking with light, stalking with activity. Understand that is the behavioral pattern that directly incriminates the people of the state of California that are engaged in the same behavioral pattern as the state. Not coincidentally present on behalf of the state. That is the system in operation. It is P.O.C. at B&G Plaza. These are the vehicles that are on the back street, which is transit, where City of Ontario is stalking with light as I'm walking in the shade. That's what that was. And let me get the rest of these license plates. It's currently 9:33 a.m. And by the way, DARKWLF sitting in their car. Just group stalking with a communication device. 7CUD283. 7VCM084. 8KRF293. 7F17770. 4103. 8G1. 2665 9P2. Those are all the vehicles on transit. This is alongside the skating rink that's at 201. It's either 201 Plum or 201 Transit. This is the ice skating rink where the state's fake sun is over there as I walk around that building, and then it's back over the B&G Plaza. I've already documented the state of stalking with light. This is exactly what the purpose is, because all of these people are monitoring with it in communication devices, and they are egregious stalkers in commercial vehicles and in their own private vehicles. It really does not matter what they're driving while they're present and engaging in activity. You're understanding, you're seeing, you're learning what monitoring is, what criminal monitoring is, what group stalking is, 8NYE 979, and the premises upon which a system like that is based. You have what is 8 HUC 514, 8 FED 335, 5 EST 438, 94339 R1, 5 JYS 562, 7VXK 067, 8 FAM 788, 6 SEA 230, 4 AYJ 260, 8 BSY 582, JLW 3790, which is an out-of-state plate, 8 TDR 465, 6 NPW 544, 6 YOZ 533. On the cameras inside of Shiro's Liquor, as this old man with plaid shorts and a black top drives through, driving past me in the parking lot. Impossible light activity moving all across, under the shaded area, across the brick walls, and across the asphalt. All right, that's the state directing light as he is crossing path, while group stalkers like ATDR 465 is on camera sitting inside of the white Honda Civic, monitoring, like the rest of them that are sitting in their vehicles and that are getting out, pulling up as I arrive in order for purposes of light activity and presence. which is not coincidental. This is why the state engages in stalking with the fake sun and this impossible light activity all over the area around me. That's what monitoring is. That's what group stalking is. And this group stalker is going to be seen on the camera. That's intentional conduct by a group stalker. That is the sexual violence as well. That's a stalker that's touching with an element of what is, for purposes of criminal purpose of monitoring. It's 9:36 p.m. I'm sorry, 9:36 a.m., excuse me. And this is at Shiro's Liquor now. That's a 6YOZ533 now pulling out. Light moving all across. I've already shown this. Understand at Clinica Medica, California, they're monitoring. At the Esther Beauty Salon, oh, it's closed. Okay, they're parked in front of all of these businesses, and they are monitoring. They're patrolling in the parking lot, wearing scrubs, a light blue scrub top and dark black bottoms, with a face mask on. He's monitoring. The state's fake sun is directly above him. That's P.O.C. This group stalker sitting in her car with her headlights on, her communication device holding up while that other group stalker is driving by, and lights shooting all across underneath the brick wall in the shaded area while the state's fake sun is directly over this plaza, as I've already captured, mind you, at all times of the day, literally moving from side to side. 8TDR465 monitoring to that impossible light activity that's moving all across. This is the absence of coincidence. They are group stalkers, and that's a sex offender. That is a male driving that white Honda Civic that is at right now 9:37 a.m. pulling out onto Holt Boulevard from the plaza. Understand, loitering in relevant position, aware of my presence, acting in concert with every other third party. 8PAN892 included in the same. Every license plate that I'm documenting, by the way, they are one group. Regardless of what day it is, they're one group. This is ongoing documentation of the people of the state. This is the state acting vicariously. All right, they are engaged in sexual violence today. All right, that's an ongoing act of the pattern of conduct. The entirety of that group is engaged in that together. It's just like any other criminal participation. That which is reasonably foreseeable to occur when you're engaged in any other criminal endeavor, it is the same thing with this group conduct, and they're monitoring with the government. That is that which is on a whole other level with regard to the criminal violence involved. And the inherent pattern of conduct with regard to monitoring via communication devices where you're touching with light, you're surrounding with light, you're stalking with light, but you happen to be a government that is also touching, and you're a stalker doing so. 8THC141 2486T2. Go on ahead, 7JCD317 324 UP. 7WLA040 XXO823, that's a Colorado plate, and stalking across the street 54798F2. STK number 209 is on the back of that truck. It's SureTech Transit Shelter. Sitting in the car right across the street from B&G Plaza. Ontario Police, let's get this. License 1591661. 1029, and understand they're crossing paths as I do what is an abrupt movement, crossing the street unexpectedly. That's P.O.C. While Ontario Police are group stalking, the state's fake sun is right here at the corner where the sign, where Shiro's Liquor emblem is on the side of this brick wall. Impossible light activity moving across the brick wall and across the, in the shade while they're driving by. Okay, that's P.O.C. And by the way, it is 9:39 a.m. and we've got the state stalking by police, stalking by fire, and stalking by plane and helicopter is the ongoing conduct. This is all elements, this is all hallmarks, that is P.O.C. SureTech using that vehicle for criminal monitoring. Impossible light activity while he is across the street from me, a fake sun while he is across the street from me, the state stalking directly by police and with its light source, that's not a coincidence, that's called group stalking. Okay, 5ESR245, 7YKR031, touching with light, 7YKR031, a sex offender specifically touching while the state is monitoring me, touching together. 3XNC688, BAL4615, 7RHT790. Understand, while they are driving west on Holt Boulevard, this is shade underneath on this side, on the east side of the street. Light is moving all across the span of the street. That's called impossible light activity. All right, these are clear criminals. These are clear demented psychopaths who are intentionally present. That's concerted conduct. In other words, not ignorant of the fact that this light is reaching all the way across the street onto the brick wall, across the asphalt while they're driving past. 7AZV423, psychopath. 8GYW522, psychopath, sex offender, group stalker. So is SureTech. While they're sitting stationary across from me stalking, this light activity is accounted to him as well. 87758S2, 7LDH065, 5WJV727, 5TQH 173, 8X39759, 3079012. That's an Indiana plate of a large truck. That's Penske, US.327574. Impossible light activity all over the asphalt while he's in the shade, which is never occurring, even if the sun was directly over. That's impossible light activity, and Penske is a sex offender. Understand that. 4 PEA 955. Penske represents the people of the state of California, monitoring an American citizen, using its instruments, which is a vehicle for purposes of monitoring with the government, while it is touching all over, acting as a stalker vicariously on behalf of that government. That's P.O.C. 7SKW114, substantially similar. Understand, Ontario police, sex offenders. I've already documented they're kidnappers, they're thieves, all right? They are liars engaging in false charges, acting with the court, and they're sex offenders. 6CDN136, SUBIES, 5GDZ151, 6JQZ282. 7HZY4, I can't really see that one, but 6JBT727. And I've already demonstrated that Ontario police are sex offenders, but I'm speaking through, understand they're driving by, group stalking with the whole, they're engaging in it. That's the state acting directly. It's the same entity, and they are directly engaged in that. But they're directly engaged in that when they're engaged in kidnapping and touching my person, having no right whatsoever. 7GVR084, 7AUT948, and doing so while I am kidnapped inside of the state facilitating venues of Glen Helen, West Valley, Central Detention Center. 8DZM296, and understand, 7TBX710. They are also engaged in what is criminal facilitation of sexual violence of the person, of the target individual, that they are all monitoring together. LOSPPS4, 8GUHH448, substantially similar. 7PTP225. 8LGD033, 58688S2. 95471V1, 6RQJ207. Light all over the place as they're driving by. These are psychopaths. 8AXC133, psychopath. This is not coincidence. That's exactly what I'm telling you. 8BSM622. This is documentation and this is prosecution of the people of the state of California who are intentionally monitoring with the government. 0398 2S1, 7TXM106. 7ZPG334, 5SJA228, 8FKD858, 8KSY929, 8DAY223, 7VOM060. A black Mustang, Ford Mustang, parked at Stereo City in the middle of the parking lot. It's closed. That was P.O.C. 90426G2. In relevant position from where I'm standing, in front of Shiro's Liquor at Stereo City at the corner of Sultana and Holt Boulevard. That is P.O.C. as well. Just like SureTech is group stalking, parked on the Holt Boulevard, license 7BZL303, in front of Ontario Town Square apartments. I'm sorry, Ontario Town Square townhomes. 8EIH202, sex offender. 7PO6073, 34603D2, no plate. 7204, 8B2, 8FAJ140, 8HOY631, 8RKV669, 4URB321, 18802U2, 7FGC412, 6UXJ229, 8FAF63, I can't really see that one that clearly, 8SWY676, 6BTK659, 8AHW993. That's audible activity. Understand, SureTech is monitoring me to that audible activity. SureTech is molesting my person with all the rest of these psychopaths that are driving past as light is moving in the shade, mind you, as they're driving past, okay, driving east. And as they're driving west, light shooting across the asphalt and touching. All right, these are psychopaths and they're sex offenders and they're monitoring. Intentionally creating activity, intentionally present for the state's ongoing light activity. Those are the elements of monitoring, UPS included, 11178U2, driven by a black male driving west on Holt Boulevard right now on the traffic cameras at Plum and Holt. Monitoring the people of the state of California, working for UPS sex offenders, 7KMJ257, 8EQA197, 01136B2. 7THA316, 8AJP456. 8J04Y66. 8JJZ570. Light streaming all across the brick wall. As they're driving east, light is appearing, moving what is south across the brick wall. Impossible light activity. 6TI Z254, 1BEG209, 6YJA353, 8AVB572, 8RBH343, 5CUS197, 85810F2, 8PCH822, all of them touching together. 7SSR494, molesting with light, as you are stalking with a government and you're molesting with light. 8TIG747, being a group stalker is a seriously violent sexual offense. N718401 by a black male in a Kia SUV exiting B&G Plaza and drives east onto Holt Boulevard, turning onto Sultana. This is 6HWF476. 7RGH891, and let me be clear what the state was doing. This is directly Ontario Police stalking, just like this one in license plate UUX094. This is the Ontario Police that engaged in presence. What's up, group stalker? This is the one that was parked at Stereo City that was closed. 8MRX964. It looked just like that vehicle. But regardless, I couldn't see the license plate over there. This is a third party using its vehicle's audible activity. While, mind you, I'm speaking about the sex offending, group stalking, kidnapping, thieving Ontario Police Department. They are engaged in what was driving by as I'm reading their license plates. They arrived at the moment that I crossed the street, and I did so surprisingly. That's group stalking. 6JBT727, not a coincidence that they arrive at that time. I engaged in new movement, that's the definition, and they're present, all right? They are sexually touching all over my person with all of these people. It's a ginormous orgy that the state's engaged in. This is legally what they're doing. They're touching all over you together because they're monitoring as they're crossing path. They're driving past you, walking past you, and light appearing all over the place, okay? Which under no circumstances is ever occurring, all right? This is the state engaging in that same behavioral pattern. And that is sexually violent. You're a stalker and you're touching. You're touching with light because you're monitoring. So you're touching for a criminal purpose. This is license plate 90191B2. 8NJF421 OLPAPER. Ontario Police again, group stalking. Vehicle number looks like 1805. Those group stalkers are listening to me talk about them. I already told them they're going to prison. And I meant that. I have documented them and I continue to document them. They are egregious sex offenders, psychopaths wearing police uniforms. They have no business in the legal, they're not in the legal profession. They have no business in law enforcement whatsoever. This is the stripping down of a society that is engaged in criminal conduct on a systematic basis, driving USPS vehicles, by the way. They're psychopaths engaging in a criminal system in California, 5X21997, and it is indiscriminate. And you're seeing how it does it. 5EWK919, DLSU TKD. And while these idiots engage in the same behavioral pattern, not hurting me, prosecuting themselves, exposing how they engage in that system of monitoring, shooting light all over the place, 7TIU543 is a sex offender because of that. Understand that. It's group conduct. 7GWY528. These are psychopaths wearing police uniforms, psychopaths driving the fire trucks, psychopaths literally driving the AMR ambulances, but it's not just AMR. When I'm in Los Angeles, the same identical behavioral pattern. They're using their emergency vehicles. This is the state acting directly. I documented this on video in Los Angeles under a fake sun, Alameda and Cesar Chavez, okay? P.O.C. in Los Angeles, 13119T1. These are psychopaths. This is the government engaged in what is a new legal concept, which I have fully expounded upon. I have fully exposed and documented and shown how you prosecute it. And this is demented conduct. This is, it's of the demonic. Understand the demonic is highly demented. It's of a psychopath. 3UAH423. That's what the demonic is all about. It is very disturbed conduct. And it is that which is in no way impervious to prosecution. You're seeing how the demonic is right in front of your face. It is criminal, it is demented, and it's also sexually violent. No respect whatsoever for the human or constitutional rights of another. 79912W2, substantially similar. That's what the demonic is about, by the way. It's not about focusing on some weird spiritual. This is entirely satanic that 7BNW096 is participating in, 7DTY. 762, Ontario Police, the fire trucks, 7BOK117, 4SJA093, entirely satanic, 62559X1, 89171S2. But understand that that satanic, that's relevant context, that SureTech is engaged in, just loitering. This is what's called loitering. They will be fiercely prosecuted for that. Where government is monitoring, it's going to behoove the people of that state to get the hell out of the way. That's the point of prosecution, and that's what's going to be occurring under federal law. 8A18263. A government's not going to be able to freely be able to engage in like this little pissant in a Mustang. 8MRX964. He's a sex offender. He's going to be prosecuted for that. 8KDK. He's driving what is east on HOLT and then north onto Sultana. And he's on the cameras inside of Shiro's Liquor as well, inside of B&G Plaza. And he is operating with SureTech. He's operating with Ontario Police. He's operating with all in B&G Plaza. They're all in relevant position. Ontario Town Square Homes, where they're creating audible activity constantly that the state is amplifying through third-party group stalking gardeners who are intentionally creating audible activity. This is the ongoing behavioral pattern. 8UJE986. They are all monitoring. This is literally why you can go down the street and read down all the license plates of all those group stalkers where they're living while you're subject to monitoring as you're walking past their homes. 5MJR827. 2JTB269. So SureTech, understand, he's sitting right in front of me at B&G Plaza across the street, and right where this loud activity is occurring under the fake sun, he's monitoring. 6JDN673. While all these psychopaths that drive by repeatedly touching over and over again. Do you understand the inherent threat and criminal and sexually violent conduct that they're engaged in together? Understand, that's demonic. That's demonic. In addition to what I've shown is the highly unheard of real-time movement of a fake sun in the sky. That's demonic. 6KDP193, 7JFZ721, 6XDL654, CIU7841, that's an out-of-state, 8SNE391, 8SLX170, 477 AVT Florida plate, 88888VV, 6ZQY895, 97971C2. These little group stalkers over here, 71025V2 on the cameras at B&G Plaza inside of Shiro's Liquor. 6FMA118 or 178, substantially similar, driving west on Hall Boulevard right now. And while they're driving west, all the way across the street, while these cars are in front, stationary in the shade, light appearing across the brick wall behind me. All right, that's exactly what they were doing last night as I was documenting the same sex offending group stalking criminals who were in traffic and the enlarged shadows along the brick wall behind me. That's called impossible light activity. That's what they're doing right now, okay? This is the same conduct. 8STF995, substantially similar. 6L DE 295, 6GMK 615, 8SLX 170, 8MAF 571, 01KNGS. This is the exact same behavioral pattern over and over again. It is ongoing at night. It is ongoing during the day. The absence of the fake sun is in no way stopping sex offenders from touching. And why are they touching with light? Because they're monitoring. 68589N1. 5UGY 324. 33276U2. 37675Z1. The purpose of my podcast is not only to speak to what is the pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring, explaining what it is, also identifying that entity that is not only directly but vicariously, that is identifying the people of the state of California specifically for purposes of exposing what is widespread criminal conduct that's embedded into society, that's supposedly supposed to be some secret, and all the ways in which they're engaging in it in your face, regardless of what vehicles that they're driving, what place that they're working at, whatever it is they appear to be doing. Guess what? It's the means of the P.O.C. All right. The P.O.C. is indiscriminate to whatever uniform you're wearing. This is how the state is, and this is what the state system relied on, falsely, okay, detrimentally. A sex offender like this one, whose license plate I'm going to read, 8GGW482, 6UYG948, 6NMC761, 8E54189, 4MPM 429, 54673X2, 28117J1, 9F91634, ZKE 923A, that's a different license plate, UPS 1178U2, crossing path again, and understand a whole large print of what is gold light and right in front of me on the asphalt as that UPS vehicle drives by, all right? Not only is that ongoing P.O.C., that is a threat, as each of these companies that they're aware, not only are these individuals, they're one group, they're all aware that I'm documenting, but UPS in particular, as I identify them as sex offender, Omnitrans included, understand that's a threat. They're going to be prosecuted for all of this. The legal significance of everything that they're doing, I'm just letting you know what it's all intentional conduct. 7CJF577. And the evidence of that is the fact that 7BNW096, whether they're driving east or west, is never going to appear with this light activity that I've documented already. 5J85285, 8MTE192, 12300G2, 7J04968, 4H54369, 7GOF940, 8S50919, 8EOV491, 52219D2, 6L12988, 8PBV090, 04927L1. That light activity is never occurring whatsoever, and I've already established that this is the state's light source, a literal fake sun, in addition to the ongoing tampering with the environment. Whereby 7E638407, substantially similar, you can't really see that one, 6E59120, and 6LDE295, 6UTD574 can just drive by and monitor, okay? SureTech is just now leaving, understand, that is prolonged loitering, presenting a direct threat to me, engaged in sexual violence, touching and molesting with every other third-party group stalker, engaging in that criminal facilitation and direct engagement in it, with Omnitrans, all right, with UPS, with USPS, all of them engaging in what is crossing path. And this is just what I am seeing visually. Group stalking is maintaining presence, meaning the state and police vehicles, not only driving by in front, they're stalking, sitting around on back corners, remaining in relevant position, ready to engage in crossing path like they did at the moment I engage in any unexpected or new movement or something. 68589N1, they're stalkers, they're psychopaths, engaged in a demonic system, and that is manifest by that demented conduct, okay? Omnitrans stalking with light at its bus stop, USPS stalking with light on the opposite side of the street. They are both engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring on the HOLT Boulevard right in front of me. Omnitrans is now driving forward, which is west. They're right in front of me. Understand, I'm surrounded right here with audible activity, USPS and Omnitrans acting in concert. Omnitrans camera, which is on the opposite side, another Omnitrans bus, which is driving eastbound, is on camera capturing USPS. Understand, they're stalking with light. And USPS acting with every other group stalker. 8 p.m. and 049 is monitoring me in concert with USPS, which was stalking with light at the end of this street in alignment to me, creating light activity. Omnitrans monitoring me in concert with 6WGD737, 683VG handicap plate, 8AYM928, 7ZRG874, XP59469, 5DA N62, Omnitrans, and I'm referencing that camera, license 1302442, bus number 2356. All right, monitoring before they're arriving. Understand, they don't have to be right here next to me. I'm letting you know about the stalking with light conduct by third parties, USPS, which is actually arguably the government. That's the federal government, and in that vehicle engaging in P.O.C. It is indiscriminate and it's intentional conduct, the same identical behavioral pattern. It does not matter that they're in a USPS. Understand, it's even worse. This is the same conduct by police, by fire and ambulance, and in a USPS truck. 8 MLX 506. And understand, engaging in that conduct maliciously in a USPS vehicle. This is how you're stripping down what are elements of monitoring, because that's how the state system operates. You're talking about a psychopath driving a USPS vehicle, monitoring inside of Omnitrans buses, monitoring inside of USPS vehicles, monitoring inside of UPS vehicles, engaging in what is sexual assault by all this impossible light activity appearing right in front of me. That's Omnitrans engaging in that same conduct. That's UPS engaging in that as well. I've documented that. 7XQU217, 4NFR871, or 4NER871. None of this is that which is occurring, so this is how you're speaking to intent, the absence of coincidence, because none of this is light which is naturally occurring. And what is the significance of light, the centrality of light? It is the demonic, all right, the demented targeting conduct whereby a public entity is monitoring you in concert with the people that surround. So this is a vast, massive monitoring system via communication devices in violation of 18 U.S.C. section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. License 32318P2, Cruise Plumbing, using that vehicle for federal group stalking and monitoring and touching with the state, touching all over. That's a sex offender in that vehicle, 7WAN335, 7YUS011, 5SJA228, 6BMT746, 26548A3, touching with the state that is engaged in what is a sexual assault in a fire truck. This intentional creation of light activity on the ground, because that's not occurring from the sun. As they're driving by, they're engaged in that sexual assault as well. It's group conduct and it's also intentional while the psychopath listens to me document, all right? That's right here in the shade, the fire truck driving by. 8KFB161. And those third parties engaging in that same waging of a sexual assault while they're crossing path and monitoring me. 8NXE243 and 8DHZ562 actually touching, 7MXM432 touching, molesting while they're driving by. Okay, so you have this ongoing light activity while they're crossing path, the state directly and vicariously. 8SDM819, 8W19624. It's P.O.C. 7KFF895. 32665C2, 7TCE807, 6HTM832. It is 10:04 a.m. Understand, at Stereo City, at Sultana and Holt, they're monitoring. Okay, they're in relevant position. All of the traffic that I'm getting right here at Holt Boulevard is just right here in front of me where I happen to be located, and this is why the state's fake sun is right here over the building that is B&G Plaza. Okay, the state's fake sun, as I already captured, remains wherever I am and follows everywhere that I go. And also that cumulative documentation is proof of the fact that it ain't the sun. 90426G2, directly incriminating the people of the state of California. Also showing the manners in which they're engaged in sexual violence, not only by the molestation by that fake sun, but the impossible light activity while they're crossing paths. 8EQD820, 8CZR752. And this is not ignorant conduct. This is intentional conduct. This is how you monitor. 8POG890. 7TJY839. 7N33553, 7AJR862, 7SXG277. All right, this is ongoing monitoring conduct, just to be clear, at the museum, and this is also speaking to 5FLM741. This is also speaking to the ongoing monitoring via traffic, a sample of which I engaged in documenting last night while they're all engaged in the same conduct all night long on the traffic cameras. It's ongoing documentation of criminal monitoring. That's what you're looking at. And while you are looking at them driving by, because that's not what this is not just driving by, these are sex offenders now being exposed as they are, 7VXKO67, being exposed as the sex offenders that they are, the criminals that they are, 6U91185, 6SBZ033, 6TIC809, engaging in that which they presumed would never, 8EXN120, never, ever, ever, 8S73555 be revealed, or certainly under the impression that it could never be prosecuted. And that's an absolute lie. That's a fiction. That is 7GMK615. And not only that, I am speaking to and demonstrating the ways in which you are, this is for purposes of giving an example, the preeminent case which is establishing that the government is engaged in this criminal conduct, and it is that which is exceeding the ordinary level of evidence, a prima facie case that would be required by the target individual. One playlist that I've submitted on YouTube is sufficient evidence for the ordinary target individual to establish that a government is monitoring them. I have far surpassed that because I am establishing that it is real. ALP4904, Arizona, 7MVB420. And this is 8ESF523, 32367Z1, 8CQP079, 8ALU297, 8EEZ386, 6TBC174, 03126M1, and it is also necessary that I do so in order for the understanding of all of the criminal methods employed by a public entity acting through, for example, 6V82281. All right, the significance and understanding and paying attention to the environment, because this is how you're understanding what is monitoring, and understanding also the legal context that is applied to everything that's occurring where a government is monitoring you. Because this is not just driving by. 8EQD820 is not merely engaged in traffic. Everything has a legal context where the government is monitoring you, all right? And acting through that presence. 87MPF790, let alone the environment that I have already revealed as it exists, which is highly tampered with for that criminal purpose of monitoring, okay? This is that which is speaking to the ways in which you are violating the person, and it is sexually violent. Touching in any manner, in any other location with your hand, let alone an instrument of criminal monitoring, while you are the government, and not only you're the government, but you're sanctioning that by everybody that is around. That's what Ontario police are engaged in. They're sex offenders. Driving up right now, Ontario police license plate 1591420 under the fake sun, slowing down in front of the Omnitrans bus stop to be in relevant position, a Latino male, vehicle number 1038, monitoring with Amazon Prime, who was also driving at Sultana. That's a psychopath in a police uniform, okay? Doing exactly what every other third-party group stalker that I just documented is engaged in. Like I said, this is not traffic. And the Ontario police doesn't have to drive by to establish my point. I'm letting you know that's an additional aspect of the same point that I am punctuating. This is not traffic. I'm documenting criminal activity where a government is monitoring you. Everything has a legal context. 7HLP274 is engaged in criminal conduct. Driving past me. 75LGU894, 8N36545. And all the target individual has to do is document it. That's all you got to do. 7PNR578. Because this is the government that's driving past you, surrounding you. This is the government that's in the bathroom with you. This is the government that's in the grocery store surrounding you. This is the government that's surrounding you at every street where you're at. They are not just driving by. They're intentionally engaging in that. 7 MBA 951. And then on top of that, they got the nerve to touch you. Okay, touch all over you over and over. This is the government touching you over and over and over again. And then a psychopath wearing a police uniform, stopping in the middle of the street of the Omnitrans bus stop, okay, while I'm standing here at the Sharrow's Liquor at the driveway, he slows down in front at the bus stop. And then speeds up again. He's literally engaging in direct stalking conduct. He's in the path, he's monitoring. This is a psychopath that's monitoring before he's on the street. They're listening to every word that I'm saying. They're psychopaths. They're psychopaths in their cars, and they're psychopaths in police uniforms. Psychopaths driving those fire trucks, okay? Sounding their sirens, they're psychopaths, literally. That is what demonic conduct is, by the way. It's demented. 39072E1, that's what that is. And this is a demonic system, 5XZG687. FedEx, patrolling on the back street at Transit and patrolling right now, making a U-turn on Holt Boulevard and Sultana. It is currently 10:11 a.m. That's P.O.C. B3, 8ETB, 806, 6YOH, 230, 7BNH, 625, 74844Z1, 4RRK, 777, 7N88, 704, 8ERC, 339, 8DZL, 897, 7SLS, 949, 6EAU, 029. Understand, as I exit Sharrow's Liquor, it's the same conduct. This is ongoing molestation of light shooting all over the place, touching all over my body as they're driving past. That is the state's P.O.C. for monitoring, and they are engaged in sexual violence on the run while they're just driving by, molesting with light. They're monitoring with their communication devices as they drive by, and that is concerted conduct with the government that's engaged in sexual violence for the criminal purpose of monitoring. This is that which is to be presented against for purpose of federal prosecution, every third party that's already documented, and those that are to be documented, because they're one group. This is the ongoing pattern of conduct, and this is the conduct that they engage in while the phone is off. I'm just turning it on and letting you know those are the third parties engaged in that rampant molestation with light, omnitrans and relevant position monitoring with a 1545945. Driving westbound on Holt Boulevard, impossible light activity on the ground while they're driving past. Under the state's fake sun, which is traveling east over my head as I'm walking down the street. Even though it's supposed to, as I've already shown, just one example, it's supposed to be remaining over the shaded area, which is the Ontario Library, where I'm sitting there, but it's not, it's over AutoZone, where Group Stalker 8TZA530 is sitting in the middle of the street. All right, this is P.O.C. Just sitting in the middle of the street at Pleasant Avenue and Holt Boulevard. And the plane is flying directly over the plaza, over the AutoZone. You're a sex offender, honey, and I'm gonna prosecute you for that. A plane over his car while he's sitting in the middle of the street, monitoring with all the rest of these sex offenders that are driving on Holt Boulevard. This is federal group stalking and monitoring. I'm at Pleasant Avenue and Holt Boulevard. Listen to the state. You're gonna be prosecuted for that. Yeah, you're gonna be prosecuted for that. So that's P.O.C. Understand, 8TZA530, he's just doing what third parties do, stalking. And what is stalking for purposes of monitoring via communication devices? Staying in the path. So he's sitting in the middle of the street, arriving unaware of my presence, okay? Waiting for me, and that is for purposes of crossing path. State's fake sun over his car where I'm standing. State present via aircraft, okay? That's P.O.C. Ongoing impossible light activity molesting my person while he's in the middle of the street in relevant position. That's the absence of coincidence. That's the monitoring system. Every single last third party documented shall be prosecuted for the ongoing molestation by the state, because they are one group monitoring together. And that is the pitfall of engaging in group criminal conduct. That's P.O.C. It is currently, 1 second, let me look at my clock. Currently 10:21 a.m. and I am at 570 Holt Boulevard. This is the AutoZone inside of the plaza where the Wendy's and the AutoZone is. It says the address 570 on the sign. Okay, so AutoZone is at 570 Holt Boulevard and Wendy's at 590 Holt Boulevard, I suppose. That's where I'm located right now. That's P.O.C. Alrighty, 8JAK 705. A massive molestation by a white truck, which is in no way making it realistic that light is appearing all over the sidewalk and all over my person. 5DEL 290, molesting with that third party. 8RZK 676, 7DER 300, all of them molesting together. Let me get 4UQY 092. This overweight, pop belly, group stalking sex offender, 8KAP 521, 6ATG 104, 5UGV 919. Stalking with light at the end of the train tracks using a truck while they're on monitoring. The state engages in intentionally and this is the absence of coincidence. This is what I mean. As I arrive at the campus and Holt Boulevard, a large in front of Kegel's. I've already shown you the light activity there where the state's big sun is hovering over the hood of that building right there at the sidewalk. 5WDL 898. Go ahead, that's the state again. We already know the state is stalking. I'm showing you how the state is stalking vicariously. This is contract stalking, gang stalking, group stalking by the people of the state of California who are sex offenders. And so you have a large white truck, and this is supposed to be the another means of what is a realistic, because this is the state's, because the state engages in the same exact light activity using an ordinary group stalker's car. So you have what is a white truck, a large white truck that drives past, sits at the corner, slowly drives by, and molests my entire body with orange light. And this is while the state's fake sun is over my shoulder. Understand every third party's license plate that I just read is in relevant position, is engaged in sexual molestation with that third party truck. All right, I do not need that third party's truck. First of all, the state is a sex offender. All right, you're talking about the entity. 6ZHY533. Loomis, in relevant position. Understand stalking in the Cardenas parking lot under these incredible circumstances. California U.S. 252201. This is truck number 2780. There is no activity whereby the state stalking via aircraft just flew over the Cardenas, okay? Engaging in the fake sun, it's directly over the Cardenas grocery store. 7U20084. This is Loomis engaging in P.O.C. All right, this is the same exact behavioral pattern. Presence and engaging in whatever activity that they engage in as a business, for example, for an excuse of presence. Under the incredible circumstance of a fake sun, of impossible light activity that is continuously molesting while they happen to be present. Loomis is in relevant position. Loomis is monitoring. And guess what? Loomis is a sex offender engaging in that criminal monitoring conduct. All right, they're all touching together. They're all monitoring together. Loomis represents the people of the state of California. And that is P.O.C. It's 10:28 a.m. And again, that's the state's fake sun over the Cardenas where Loomis is sitting. And no longer over Cardenas. It's directly over me as I continue walking. That's P.O.C. 6ERA 569. 7PGM 231. 5ZSB 885. 7B63596. 3214 V2. Substantially similar. 7PWP 557. 7LDS 395. 86910 R1, I can't really see that one. 8BF G688 are substantially similar, can't really see that. They are driving east on Holt Boulevard, approaching the BONVIEW and HOLT cameras. That's another means of documentation. 9409 OA3, I believe. 4TRJ206. 7LDS 395. MHV 9872. That's a Texas plate. I think I already read 7LDS 395. 6TIZ 254. 8749 3H2. Monitoring at J&V Auto Accessories while molesting with light is ongoing. They're standing outside on the sidewalk in relevant position, states fake sun over their venue. That's called stalking with activity by an old grandma who waits until I'm positioned next to the car, closes the car door. That's stalking with activity, and molesting with impossible light activity via traffic, state fake sun over the venue. J&V Auto Accessories, monitoring with every other venue, but just give you an example of P.O.C. While they're standing on the sidewalk, third party parked on the curb, license 57691IB2, okay, on the curb behind me, under a fake sun. Again, J&V is located at 802 Holt Boulevard. This license plate stalking using the car door is 8A63809 at J&V. 7CNF006 is used as a means of stalking with light at, this is Basic Auto Repair located at 810 Holt Boulevard. Fake sun is over their business right now. That's monitoring. Okay, that's monitoring conduct. Using whatever they got as he's opening up the car doors, impossible light activity moving across the walls. That's P.O.C. So like I stated, my podcast serves the purpose of not only, as I have thoroughly done, speaking to the elements of what are criminal monitoring, light, and all the ways in which the state is engaging in light activity, light creation, the state including the people. They are the vicarious aspect of the entity. Activity, audible, visible, and sensational, and relevant positioning, which is group stalking, maintaining presence as a group while they maintain light, while they maintain activity for purposes of monitoring via communication devices. All right, and this is that preeminence of light. This is why you stalk with a fake sun in the sky on such a universal scale, because they're all monitoring, meaning everyone that's around you, meaning in relevant position, meaning as a group stalking on behalf of that entity that is monitoring an American citizen. That's how government monitors. That's the pattern of conduct. And my podcast serves the purpose of both speaking to that pattern of conduct, but also revealing what is the identity of the people that are monitoring with the government. And this is for the purpose not only of exposing what is criminal activity occurring in everyday life, what are psychopaths engaging in a demonic targeting system that are engaging in that which isn't what was designed and intended to remain quote unquote secret, a secretive ongoing system that's occurring in California. And I'm speaking to the ways in which it is enabled to remain otherwise concealed because they are engaging in it systematically in everyday life in plain view, plain sight, because it is seamlessly occurring in everything that they are doing while they're at their job, even while they're in their homes, while they're engaging in something as mundane as walking past. Where a public entity is monitoring you, like I have stated, this is the absence of ordinary conduct. It all maintains a legal context. In addition to that which I have spoken to, which are the absolutely unnatural environment and the circumstances that are surrounding what are supposed to be mundane events. Not only are they not ordinary events that are occurring as you're merely walking past or driving past or being present in any business or home, that maintains a legal context. Not only that, the environment itself is also speaking to that which is anything but mundane, anything but ordinary. It all has a legal context, and this is based on the government, the public entity that is monitoring. Okay, and so this is why it is a means of documentation, and all that you have to do is document it because, and this is what I'm doing through my podcast, speaking, and that's the dual purpose of it, not only speaking to the monitoring conduct, but speaking to the identification of that entity, and that is the people of the state of California. And they are sex offenders. They are engaging in that which is sexual violence of a federal nature, okay? This which is sexual violence that has never been legislated, and this is because it is and formerly was a concealed system that is embedded into society. They are seamlessly engaging in it as they go about their quote-unquote business, using their business, by the way, for purposes of that criminal system, presenting an ongoing, ceaseless, unprecedented level of a threat against an American citizen, intentionally doing so, aware in real time of every word that is uttered, even as to the documentation of their criminal activity, speaking to the level of diligent and intention and malicious criminal conduct which is speaking to the threat. That's all going to the threat, which is sanctioned, facilitated by a government, and in turn sanctioned by the people of that state. So this is the relevance of documenting that conduct. Every documented third party, they are representing the entirety of that group. So with regard to the criminal federal charges, it's one group. So they engage in this group molestation via light. They engage in this perpetuation of an ongoing threat. They engage in monitoring you while you are kidnapped. They're engaged in that criminal conduct together. They are not isolated in that federal charge. They are acting as a group, okay? This is that which is attributed to each of them as a group. Now, when they are prosecuted, they're all isolated. You're shaving them all apart and subject to that, and that is what I advocate under I.I.S. federal legislation, because current legislation does not address every nuance of the criminal tactics that are employed by a public entity. Understanding the way that the government engages in what is criminal obstruction of justice, engages in, and the government meaning the people of the state of California who are actively engaged in that pattern of conduct as well via criminal defamation. And this is that which is the perpetuation of a false narrative designed to defame that targeted individual, which in and of itself is also a very powerful tool amongst the people of the state of California. That's criminal conduct. It's facilitating the state system. And they do so not only on the internet, literally the group stalkers, the people of the state, get on the internet engaging in that P.O.C, and they also do so in person, as I've also documented, and the state engaging in that as well. Lisa Rogan, the Rancho Cucamonga Courthouse, West Valley Detention Center, Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center, while they're engaged in kidnapping, while they are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, that is the pattern of conduct. And so this podcast is serving that purpose of identifying what are sex offenders, and what you are recognizing as criminal activity, looking at the criminal and not in the ways in which you assume a criminal appears or conducts themselves, or the line of work that they would be in, or what trade they're in, or what economic status they have, or what race they are, or what age group they would be comprised within. All of that is irrelevant. You are talking about a government, an entity that is monitoring and doing so on a massive scale through the people of the state indiscriminately, okay? And that is the pattern of conduct, and that's the purpose of this podcast. I am literally identifying rampant criminal activity that includes sexual violence inherent to a pattern of conduct designed to monitor via communication devices, and that massively through all the people that are present as I'm documenting them, okay? And that's the significance of that. All of them engage in that group conduct together. One engages in sexual violence, meaning one individual third party engaging in an episode of P.O.C, for example, as I document, molesting with light as they're driving by. Not only are you able to deduce the intent, the malice, and the high level of criminal threat that is existing based on the fact that it is not occurring naturally ever from the actual sun, in addition to the fact that it is already established through the documentation that is not the sun that remains directly over me everywhere I go. This is how you are deducing intent. This is how you are deducing malice, the absence of coincidence, the intentional presence while this light activity is occurring. The people of the state of California are deliberately engaging in the system. This is how the system operates. And like I stated, my point is, where one is engaged in it, they are all engaged in it together. They are monitoring together. Engagement in one or any of those criminal elements, including mere presence, is engaging in that criminal system. You are engaging in thereby in that sexual violence, just like any other crime, except this is on a whole other level because it is the government that is engaging in this system, And it is the government that is facilitating it by the very people that constitute the state. This is an unprecedented level of criminal conduct designed to target an American citizen. And so this is what I am documenting, the significance of identifying third parties by license plate, as, by the way, they are engaged in what is demonic activity. These are psychopaths. Understanding what the demonic is just that which is in reference to which is highly malicious. It is highly demented conduct, and you're seeing this through a fake sun. That is demented, highly demented, and very, very criminal, okay? This is enabling more and more of the people of the state of California to be able to monitor you. All right, and this is while they are all touching together, because they're all monitoring together. The state is touching you with that light. They're all touching you together. And this is to be appreciated under federal law, whether they are driving their own vehicle and or a commercial vehicle that they are using intentionally for purposes of that criminal monitoring system, okay? That's how a public entity monitors you. These are the devices that they formerly were able to hide behind, and I am showing you how they are weapons of federal prosecution. Everything that they engaged in, the group conduct is supposed to be that which enables and strengthens and facilitates. That is a weapon for federal prosecution. That group conduct is the same means by which all of them shall be prosecuted equally for that which they are engaging in together, okay? It is the same with the ongoing molestation of light. Touching in any manner by one is touching by all, including the state directly, okay? And so this is the significance of what I'm documenting. And as I have already established the state's pattern of conduct, the state is stalking. The state is engaged in hovering, obsessive, paranoid level of stalking via aircraft, via police, fire, and ambulance, and stalking via light. So understand those elements. That's the first element, stalking with light, and the stalking directly by the state via aircraft, police, fire, and ambulance. That's stalking directly. That is speaking to the third criminal element, which is relevant positioning. That's the state group stalking, and it's group stalking directly, okay? This is the ongoing, while, mind you, activity creation is ongoing. The state, while the state is stalking by police, fire, and ambulance, they're sounding, while they're stalking, this is why you're able to hear their sirens. Everything that they're engaging in is revealing the fact that they're stalking, maintaining presence, all right? And so this is why you understand what the elements are, and it is ongoing P.O.C. of that entity engaged in what is group stalking, and it is federal group stalking and monitoring. This is federal question jurisdiction, and this is that which is to be submitted under I would say on multiple grounds of federal question jurisdiction based on the criminal abridgment of your right to access the courts. The public entity that monitors you has no interest whatsoever in any way respecting your constitutional right to access the courts, which is a matter of documentation. I have already established this, and this is a pattern. This is not just a one-timer, it's a pattern. This is the state's interest. They did so in the criminal courts. Complete disregard for the law, for the constitutional rights, for what is proper procedure, for what is actually fact, what is actually occurring, literally making up events, making up information, making up people, okay, for the purpose of engaging in criminal activity in the court, all right? The civil court's engaging in that same conduct. It is the same exact conduct, complete disregard of the law, complete disregard of the constitutional rights of the targeted individual while they're monitoring you in that court, engaging in the perpetuation of criminal activity in that court, which is a state facilitating venue. This is a pattern, all right, while completely disregarding your constitutional right to access to the courts, all right? Doing so is that which is established as a matter of documentation. This is providing federal question jurisdiction by the federal court to hear a targeted individual's suit against a public entity. Group stalker 7B and H 625, while the state is stalking in traffic via Ontario Police on camera at HOLT and BONVIEW, stalking via AMR on HOLT and BONVIEW traffic cameras, with every other third-party group stalker, monitoring at Dollar General, at O'Reilly's, at U-Haul. This is where I'm at, and it's P.O.C. This is that which is a matter of a pattern that I've also documented. And so with regard to my focus here and now, because I have established what is the state's pattern of conduct, the state is a literal psychopath flying around in helicopter, circling around me, and this is a matter of years now, and that I've captured it in video. Excuse me? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. 8UJY306. This is a matter of documentation for purposes of showing what is that which is demonic conduct. And they're psychopaths that are in police uniforms. They're psychopaths that are working in any place. You can name the place, it does not matter. That P.O.C. is underway. The state is monitoring and doing so systematically. This is what which is embedded into society. And so I am merely identifying now the people of the state of California who shall be fiercely prosecuted for its engagement in that. The fact that they are acting as a vast group, the people of the state, is in no way whatsoever providing any shelter from that prosecution. This is also in the state of Ontario, the city of Ontario, which is, understand, emblematic of what the state is doing on a large scale. So this is not the state's attempt and efforts to want to isolate it to a particular boulevard or to a particular city is in no way limiting. This is showing what the state of California is engaged in. This is demonstrated by the courts, by the way. The Rancho Cucamonga courthouse is demonstrating what the court system is engaged in the state of California. The Court of Appeals, the same, the California Supreme Court, okay? Engaging in what is an egregious violation based on a fundamental, basic legal principle of due process. That's not a coincidence. That's the state's P.O.C. in operation in the courts of California, demonstrating what the system is, how the system operates in the entirety of the state. I happen to be in Ontario. This is where I am documenting it, and this is exposure of the entirety of that state system. And this is that which is, representing what the state is engaged in, how the state engages in it, and it doesn't matter what the zip code is. This is the state's pattern of conduct. This is a public entity's pattern of conduct. This is how any target individual, which has a very far less standard for purposes of a prima facie case against a public entity for monitoring. Like I said, any playlist on my YouTube page shall be sufficient for establishing a public entity's criminal monitoring conduct upon establishing that the government is actually engaged in it. And that's what the purpose of my entirety of this case is, showing that it is in no way any sort of fallacy, and these are the hallmarks of what are the ongoing elements of a monitoring system. So my purpose is, again, and this is what I'm going to focus on, having already established the state's pattern of conduct. The state is always engaged in that. You're hearing it in the background while I'm documenting. The state is engaged in ongoing stalking. I'm documenting the vicarious stalker. That is the people of the state of California, and identifying them chiefly through either location, through images, or through license plate. And this is what my focus is on now, because in the same way that you document any other stalker, this is an entity that is acting massively through the people of the state, and that is the focus now. That is the aspect that I am with regard to the prosecution of the state of California. And the prosecution of the state of California, an intricate aspect of that, an essential aspect of that rather, is the very people of that state. They are the impetus of the public entity's ability to monitor an American citizen. And these are sex offenders all around. They are psychopaths engaged in a demonic system, and they are maliciously so, okay? This is that which is showing the closeted psychopaths as they are, hiding behind superficial veneers, relying on whatever race or age or status they maintain, which is legally irrelevant, okay? And this is while you are seeing through the documentation the ongoing elements and the hallmarks while they maintain presence. This is the Georgia plate, RJY 3473. It's P.O.C. inside of the Dollar General, loitering, sitting in their car in the parking lot. State's fake sun is over Dollar General where I stand. Understand they're engaged in P.O.C. So this is with regard to the focus of this and my podcast serving the chief purpose of identifying these group stalkers, and they are egregious sex offenders. And understand, one engaging in anything that I'm documenting, 4GLY070, is the group conduct. Okay, this is that which is relying on group conduct. It's group stalking. It's stalking as a group because they're all monitoring together. This is why you stalk with the fake sun. This is why you stalk and create amplified audible activity via aircraft and sirens. It is an expansive way of maintaining activity because the people of the state of California, the people all around, are engaging in that monitoring group conduct with that entity and on behalf of that entity, and intentionally so. All right, so the state's pattern of conduct is already established. The state is a psychopath, and these are psychopaths that are in operation of the government, acting through the people, and this is that which is an ongoing aspect. And so with regard to my identification of third parties, They represent the people of the state. This is what the state of California is engaged in. Just like the courts are demonstrating what the court system engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. That's how the court system operates. That's what the documentation shows. This is what it is representative of. Understand these third parties, they are representing the people of the state of California. This is demonstrating what the people, whatever your zip code is, are engaged in together. And understand it is sexually violent conduct. They are intentionally touching. That is the absence of coincidence, and this is already shown through the documentation. That is not the sun. Even if it was the sun, this light activity is not occurring. This is how you are deducing what is absolutely deliberate, intentional, malicious, and demented conduct that is inherently sexually violent. All right, while you are engaged in this entirely threatening criminal conduct, as a group, you're touching all over. All right, these are demented psychopaths who have an issue with touching. They have an issue with invading privacy. This is that which is of the demonic. Understand, the demonic is rooted in that sort of demonic, twisted, demented conduct, having absolutely no regard whatsoever for the human rights, let alone the constitutional rights of another being. All right, I'm speaking to that which is of the demonic because you're able to recognize this based on the light treatment, based on the group conduct. That's satanic. The group conduct, relying on that's directly satanic. And the ongoing use of stalking by noise, that is rooted straight from hell, okay? And that's the behavioral pattern of third parties. So I'm literally documenting what are psychopaths as they're just driving by. Now this is expansive. This is that which is it would ordinarily exceed what one may fathom. Fortunately, in a court of law, evidence is not relying upon what one can fathom. It is relying on the objective evidence. And the behavioral pattern, the documented elements, the ongoing pattern of conduct, both by the state and by the third parties that are representing the state, that is the evidence. And this is a matter of documentation. This is already established. This is ongoing context with regard to punishment. That is that of a psychopath. That would be the exact assessment of any individual engaging in that conduct, let alone the fact that you have what is a public entity that is engaging in it and doing so through the people that constitute that state, that make up that state. All right, and this is in Ontario, and again, my documentation isn't limited to Ontario. Understand, as I go from city to city, like as I walk from, for example, Upland, look at my playlist from on YouTube. I just published the other day, August 14, 2019. I am walking from city to city. That in and of itself would be more than enough documentation for the ordinary targeted individual to establish a public entity is monitoring them. That is, by the way, stalking from city to city. I'm walking from the city of Upland into the city of Ontario, and the state is stalking via aircraft and helicopter. Third parties maintain presence at nightfall via light activity and ongoing audibles. That is monitoring conduct that I'm documenting, and it is from city to city. I've also documented the state's pattern of conduct in San Bernardino, going from Ontario to San Bernardino to Fontana. This is the pattern of conduct. This is a sample of what the state is engaged in, like I've already stated. It is not limited to the zip code. The state is in no way limiting the documentation, as it has the same group stalkers engaging in patrolling past me over and over and over again. They're just engaging in more and more federal charges. This is not limited to any specific zip code. This is a public entity. This is the government acting through the people. You are focusing on the criminal elements. You're focusing on the behavioral pattern, and it is a template for wherever you are located. And it is certainly not limited to San Bernardino County, as the state is engaged in this identical behavioral pattern in Los Angeles County and in Orange County. All right. And before I was aware of it, before I began documenting it, rather, where I was traveling throughout San Bernardino County into Kern County, as far as Kern County, and the same behavioral pattern documented. That's P.O.C. 5 A.E.S. 890. I can't really see. That's a black PT Cruiser. So anyway, it is 10:53 a.m. and I wanted to go into that a little bit of a lengthy analysis and making sure that my focus is clear, as I have established what is the state's pattern of conduct and who the state is acting through, hence the documentation of those contract/gang/group stalkers. All right, this is how the public entity is monitoring. regardless of what building you are inside of, regardless of what type of vehicle you are inside of, regardless of what sort of outfit you are wearing, okay? You are engaging in those criminal elements, and everything maintains that legal context. And understand all the state does at this point, the state proper, that stalking via air, all the state continues to do is incriminate. Well, the people of the state of California, they're already prosecuted. I'm literally documenting them for prosecution. But everything that the state does is incriminating its partner. That's all. It is in no way establishing normalcy of any of this demented conduct whatsoever. It's the pattern of conduct occurring over and over and over again. It is the ongoing incrimination of the people of the state of California, who are fully exposed as what are demented psychopaths engaged in and equally interested in understand, they are equally interested and fully engaged in seeking to continue to monitor an egregious level, paranoid, equally demented level of stalking, okay? And seeking to try to conceal, which that boat has sailed. I am literally focusing on identifying third parties, and that shall be the central focus of my podcast, identifying these group stalkers that are the people of the state of California, that represent what the state of California is doing, regardless of your zip code. I happen to be in Ontario, where I am literally raking in as many identified third parties as possible, and that is my goal. This is in addition to third parties whose name I already know, who have been monitoring me for years before I was aware of it. I am focusing on those whose identity I do not know, and those who are engaged in what is a government monitoring system that is necessarily acting while they are present, while the ongoing hallmarks are present with their presence, which is incriminating them as well. So literally you have the hallmarks and the elements working together for purposes of prosecution of the people of the state of California. It is currently 10:55 a.m. That's an excellent time for me to go ahead and stop this aspect. I'm going to continue with identifying third-party group stalkers. These are psychopaths that are listening to every word, listening to even something as minor as a bodily function. That's how closely they are listening. This is how intentional their presence are. This is the absence of coincidence, and understand the state is always engaged in that pattern of conduct. They are acting in concert with that public entity, acting through and in concert with it. And that is going to be the focus of my documentation from here on out, identifying the stalker, and whereby the pattern of conduct is already established, what they are doing, and the elements that remain present. Being present for purposes of my ability to document you is the ongoing proof of your presence. That alone, for purposes of what is monitoring by a government acting through the people of the state of California, is federal prosecution. And there is no job, there's no uniform, there is no event or activity that you are engaging in that is in any way impervious to that whatsoever. The targeted individual's very life, physical safety, and overall well-being supersedes any legally irrelevant claim of a third-party group stalker and claiming to be doing whatever. Understand that is the very purpose, that is the very way, manner in which a public entity monitors you through everyday life of everything that they're doing anywhere that you go. That is the state system in operation, okay? And that is the false premise upon which this system was designed. So it's 10:56 a.m. and that is P.O.C. Let me go ahead and get this one running out of Dollar General, 6MVY514. All right, we're going to start fresh with the new one. All right, group stalking using their vehicle with simultaneity to my starting a new one, just like I said, 7FTY969. Understand that requires them sitting in their cars and they wait for the moment to create activity. That's the behavioral pattern, okay? I'm just going to recite recite license plates because they're all monitoring and I've already established the pattern of conduct. 5VQY969. 30778G1, 7JHS006, 7VJU819. I am at Dollar General where they are loitering in relevant position, and the state's fake sun remains present. Understand Sarah Lee and U.S. Life Water, these trucks that are in relevant position in the driveway of the Dollar General, blocking the passage for driving in the parking lot. That's not only intentional presence. Those vehicles are a means of monitoring of presence of light activity. 7ASL272, 7LGH970. 8R38334, 7KBU260, 5752U, that's a handicap plate. 671VG, handicap plate, 6BMT 746, 60312H1, Sarah Lee truck, 6U85776, the Life Water truck, 4RN3950. Okay, understand these businesses are monitoring me to that activity that the state is creating over the Dollar General under its fake sun. That is P.O.C. It is 10:58 a.m. Everyone inside of Dollar General right now is monitoring me. Everyone at U-Haul is monitoring me. Everyone at Vista Motors is monitoring. At O'Reilly, they're monitoring the entire traffic intersection, ongoing presence while I've been sitting here documenting the state engaging in crossing path, AMR, Ontario Police, they're all monitoring. It's P.O.C. and I am now walking south on Bonview, state's fake sun directly above. 158-2350, 7BAR 688, 3002 1C3. 18716T1, excuse me. 19634J1. I'm at Emporia and Bonview. Intentional presence using a loud vehicle over the train tracks, 50419V1. California license 142517. That is airport mobile towing. That is license 30778G1, 5931 9P2. TPN 404 8 AVC 674. Monitoring at 201 Bonview, monitoring at 133 Bonview. These are private residences in relevant position. 7JFN 254. 8 UCP 683. HSK 147, 5243 That's a commercial vehicle. 8BQX 420. 7WGU 646 or 464, excuse me. 8TTJ 969. Again, I'm at what is the recycling center on my right as I'm walking south on Bonview and facing Marin's Auto Electric, which is on my left. 6HTT 464, and the state's fake sun is directly over my head, while you have third-party group stalker under the state's plane activity 30779G1, stopping at the dead end. This is 5YKU 427. At Marin's Auto Electric, they're monitoring. All right. Monitoring me to that activity. 30568E2. Marin's Auto Electric is located at 313 South Bonview Avenue. License of their vehicle 5X74255. California license number 323595. Monitoring with the group stalker that stops in front of me on the opposite side of the street in the dead end. Brake lights on is light activity while the state flies over in a plane. 6P2791, I believe. 8BAF481. 6MOR627. 3HSF411. 65862H2. This is 7WYS 940. California 337033. License 2757982. 80488S1. CJV 7420, Texas 8SCT 988. BH28G39, paper N432EO 7HHU 565. Seven SRD 675. 8FHG 268. Okay, so we just want to be clear with regard to what is directly incriminating. 8DO6887, substantial disclaimer, 01730T2. The state flying directly over where I am at the B&G Plaza, of course at the museum, by helicopter and plane all night. I documented third parties at the Euclid and HOLT intersection doing what they're doing all night long while the state is literally flying over repeatedly by plane and helicopter. Okay, the state flying directly over me at the museum. Okay, in the morning, the state flying directly over the 150 East Holt Ontario Health Center parking garage as I am at that location, walking on transit toward B&G Plaza. The state flying directly over B&G Plaza as I am at that location. The state flying directly over what is remaining at that B&G Plaza as I stood there documenting the license plates. The state flying over the Cardenas as I walk through that parking lot in order to document the Loomis vehicle that was engaged in monitoring under the state's fake sun, which, by the way, was directly over the Cardenas grocery store. It's directly over 435 South BONVIEW right now. That was P.O.C, the state flying over Cardenas, the state flying over me as I continue walking down Holt Boulevard. Flying over the Dollar General as I stand there giving you the analysis of the ongoing identification of the people of the state of California. That whole speech, the state is flying over the Dollar General, okay? The state is flying over while I am walking what is south on Bondu, flying directly over me as I was describing my location at the Recycle Center in front of the Recycle Center and Marin's Auto Electric, the state flying over me right there, okay? This is entirely focused as I have already demonstrated in my documentation. Third parties are engaging in that same stalking conduct as a group. All right. Like I said, it is ongoing incrimination of the people of the state of California. That is why the state is stalking directly in that manner via aircraft. That is why the state is stalking with a light source, which is impossible to occur, remaining directly squarely above me in its zenith. Right, remaining directly over my head everywhere I go. It's not here and directly over Woodside Senior Apartments and directly over the Stater Brothers entrance as I stand at that parking lot taking a picture of it as I stand at the entrance, and directly over the Ontario Mills Ultra makeup store and directly over the Staples parking lot. It is not over directly over the West Valley Detention Center. I'm sorry, right beside the windows on the side of the West Valley Detention Center, such that light is directing from the second floor down to the first floor into my cell onto the left wall. This is impossible light activity. This is called stalking with light. This is the identification of that third party group. That is the people of the state of California. The state is very targeted in its conduct, and you are seeing what is that of a psychopath. It is shared amongst a group. That is the only, and understand that group conduct is supposed to be that which is supposed to conceal it. It is not in any way, it is a weapon for federal prosecution. The elements remain, the conduct, the behavioral pattern is what you are looking at, and it is shared by third parties. And this again is just an example of where the state is flying directly over. The state is flying directly over me where I go. Third parties acting in exactly the same manner. I want to get these license plates of third party group stalkers inside of Mercy House. This is license plate BC24X63. That's a paper plate on a black Mazda. And the VIN number on that is JM3KFAB M4M1306932. It says it expires 4/30/2021. ROS number 0371572. That's a paper plate, and that is a means of criminal obstruction. The other license plate is 6RBC257. This is a third-party group stalker in the background using a vehicle for stalking with activity, closing the trunk at the same time I engage in moving my foot on the ground. That's a psychopath, okay? Spectrum, California license number, I don't see it, but 90371Y2. Monitoring, want to make sure I get that commercial vehicle. This is license plate at Mercy House 8JHX600. Monitoring me right now. I don't have to be inside the building, but this is where I'm at, and I'm just giving you additional context. I shall be focusing on these psychopath group stalkers and identifying them in any manner, by image, by license plate, by address, by location. They are engaged in the same P.O.C, and as I remain at 435 South Bonview, ongoing monitoring, as I have already documented, literally hundreds of planes flying over me inside of the property of this venue while they are monitoring, okay, with the state. This is P.O.C 7TWZ208, 6NBU 349. BG59F79, 8BKT835. You have another group stalker that's all the way out down at the end of this is a dead-end street, Washington Street. All they are doing is monitoring. The state's fake son is present. And this is P.O.C. I'm just documenting those who are in relevant position. That's all they're doing is monitoring. You've got this Mazda this Nissan with no license plate whatsoever. Understand that's criminal obstruction of justice. These group stalkers, which are psychopath, criminal, sex offending, and kidnapping criminals, know that they're being documented, okay? That is the absence of any license plate whatsoever on that vehicle. This is license plate way down at the dead end, 5HAN733. Again, referencing the security cameras at Mercy House, just like at Stater Brothers, just like at Ontario Town Square, just like at Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, just like at Woodside Senior Apartments, just like at Coin Laundry, just like at B&G Plaza, just like at Shiro's Liquor, armed with surveillance cameras, referencing them, denoting my presence and denoting the ongoing pattern of conduct underway. Everything that is occurring while I am present maintains a legal context, and you're looking at criminal monitoring. That's what you're looking at. It is currently 11:11 a.m. And referencing the cameras, because I am here at 425 South Bonview. And the state's fake son is directly over the property. Okay? P.O.C. Okay, it's 2:22 p.m. With regard to documenting the people of the state of California that are engaged in sexually violent criminal conduct of monitoring with the state, that is a sex offender. The people of the state of California are sex offenders. And as I am at third-party facilitating venue 435 South Bonview, understand they are sitting inside of that office on camera right now, appearing outwardly as though they're engaging in Mercy House services provision to those who are homeless and who want food and who need resources for homelessness as their state. Understand they're in relevant position where the state's fake son is remaining present, okay, in the same position over this property, while also my shadow is appearing in the shade where the state's fake son is on the opposite side of this bathroom door. That's called impossible light activity. That's called molesting with light, while I am inside of the bathroom, and the state specifically intentionally waits until the moment I am physically indisposed on the toilet, while my genitalia is exposed, while I'm wiping myself on the toilet, to engage in using the sound of what is the amplified train, all right, and does so at 2:21 p.m. Now, this venue is armed with surveillance cameras. Let's be clear, the state is engaged in not only impossible light activity, but also engaging in artificially engineering what is audible activity, so amplifying third-party conduct, amplifying state conduct, and also literally playing a tape of sound of that which is not actually occurring. The state is just creating that activity because it is stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And so on the cameras, it will be seen whether or not there is actually a train on the track. I want to be clear, the state engages in what is malicious and sexually motivated predatorial conduct, which is directly attributed to all of those sex offenders sitting inside of Mercy House right now, including Tyler, including Gail, Vanessa exited for quote-unquote lunch. Understand she does so while she's engaged in P.O.C, using her exiting as lunch as a means of what is crossing path and stalking with her presence at the same time I'm engaged in movement on the couch, putting away my communication devices, all right? It's 2:25 p.m. and again, the sound of the train is what is heard in the bathroom. This is audible activity that the state waits until that moment of being physically indisposed. This is the sex offender that's monitoring an American citizen, which is hostile to being documented as that sex offender. This is also the pattern of conduct. So understand, it is not just monitoring conduct that is sexually violent. This is ongoing hostility to that being exposed and documented as such. Understand that, all right? You are coloring the conduct, and this is that which is attributed, that same malice, that same vicious sexual violence is attributed to Gail, it's attributed to Tyler, it's attributed to the African-American woman with her daughter or whoever they are. They've been sitting on the couch engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring for the past few hours as my Mac Pro laptop was on, engaging in monitoring with the state, repeatedly flying over the building while they're making calls about being homeless. Guess what? They're engaged in monitoring. That's exactly what they are doing. It is occurring under the guise of being inside of Mercy House, and the facts that are going to be the circumstances that are going to apply to being at such a venue where federal group stalking and monitoring is ceaselessly underway. The state is stalking, flying directly over this building, as I was also pointing out in real time on the surveillance camera, while the state was using both the train, vibrating the building, stalking with activity as I am turning on my laptop, as I am clicking on videos, listening to them, turning on iTunes or turning off, plugging in my headphones, etc. The state stalking using the train, the state stalking repeatedly flying over the building by airplane while they're all sitting around engaging in nothing but is federal group stalking and monitoring. And this is also why it does not matter the guise under which these sex offending group stalking psychopaths are engaged in the criminal elements of monitoring. This is how the state monitors you. Third-party venue, Mercy House, they are violent sexual offenders, severely violent sexual offenders that are monitoring and doing so while I'm in the bathroom, listening to me take down my pants. This is not me being this is me being specific with regard to the criminal conduct that they're engaged in. Listening to me take down my pants, take down my underwear, wipe myself, use the bathroom, and waiting until that precise moment to create audible activity that Mercy House is inside in alignment to me in the bathroom under the state's fake sun, and including all of them in traffic at Olivia's Auto and at Castro's and at Norman's. They are all engaged in monitoring and listening in real time to what I'm doing. That is the sexual violence. That is the sexually motivated conduct that Mercy House and all of them in relevant position are engaged in right now. And I just want to be clear that the state used the sound of a train. Now, whether there's actually a train on camera, that is actually verifiable on the surveillance cameras. The state does engage in literally playing a tape, and I'm just using that to be clear. They literally just create the noise, even when it's not actually even on the tracks. Same thing with sirens. The state sounding as though they're driving somewhere. They're not driving anywhere. They're sitting around stalking in dark corners and amplifying the sound of sirens. They are psychopaths in police uniforms and fire department trucks and in ambulance vehicles, stalking, literally stalking, just remaining present, psychopaths that are monitoring and using their vehicles to do so. And so at 2:21 p.m., there should be a train that you see on the train tracks, because that's exactly what was amplified inside of the bathroom. Understand that that use of that train, whether you see it or not, that was for purposes of what is monitoring conduct, and the state deliberately waiting until the moment that I am physically wiping myself on the toilet. That is the state, that is the pervert, that is the state, meaning the people of the state of California are monitoring to that. This is entirely intentional, deliberate conduct by the state proper and by the state represented by the people of the state of California, okay? Entirely hostile to being documented as the psychopath sex offenders that they are. This is depicting, this is illustrating, this is demonstrating the viciousness behind which is criminal monitoring via communication devices, and that entity represented by the people of the state of California who are equally engaged in that criminal system, monitoring and listening to every word that I'm uttering right now. Psychopaths acting as though they are focused on something else, and all they are doing is engaging in monitoring, and the entirety of the environment is also incriminating that false premise upon which they are engaging in what is presence and activity creation. That's P.O.C. This is monitoring inside of the bathroom. It's 2:29 p.m. Third-party Mercy House at 435 South Bonview additional documentation of what is sexually violent conduct attributed to the entirety of that group, the people of the state of California, specifically attributed to Mercy House in particular, that is engaged in that sexual violence, all right, and criminal facilitation of a public entity's ability to do so. That's P.O.C. (3KMK 391 6LUR 952). They'll be seen on the surveillance cameras at 435 South Bonview in relevant position. They're engaged in stalking. That is greeting in relevant position as I exit the building. State's fake son remaining over the venue. Heavy set third party in a burgundy shirt with a ponytail, black bottoms. She's engaging in crossing a path. Traffic is engaging in ongoing crossing a path. That's systematic monitoring while I'm inside and outside at 435 South Bonview. And that is P.O.C. They're on Washington Street in relevant position under the state's fake sun. That is the same third party. Let me just note who remains in relevant position, monitoring the entirety of the day. Oh, look at the doggy, he's so cute. 4 VBL 621, 5 HAN 733. 8 DRF 010, 8 BKT 835. This is Stalking with Light 18606X2. This is Cornwell Tools, and I don't see a California U.S. dot number, but this is the P.O.C. I've already documented this before as I walk outside, and they use a truck like this to create audible activity, stalking. State's fake sun right above his truck, okay? This is P.O.C. and impossible light activity spreads across the street as he backs up, creating audible activity. Understand this is federal group stalking and monitoring as he uses the truck to do so. And I don't see a California U.S. dot number. It's Cornwell Quality Tools. He's using that vehicle, understand, for monitoring an American citizen. He is molesting with the state, that is stalking with the fake sun that's touching all over my body, acting with third parties, and using that company, which represents the people of the state of California. Understand that. And that's intentional presence. He literally engages in presence on the street, pacing back and forth, using lights and audible activity via his vehicle. As I engage in walking down Washington Street, acting with every other third party. AV75D55. That's a black Honda Accord. And this is called Stalking with Lights. So that Cornwell vehicle remains parked on the street with hazard lights. That's the same pattern of conduct. 8 PMG 841. All right, 3 KMK 391. 18606X2, 6LUR 952, all of them monitoring together. They're one group. That's the people of the state of California. 23600Y2. These are group stalkers, they're psychopaths, and they're all on the cameras, okay? And understand what they're all doing is under a fake sun. That's what that is. While the state is flying over that building like it flies over every location where I am. 6WLW 355. 7NHM 603. 8 KFB 264, excuse me. 04264P2. This is 8 RTN 862. This is 02133A2. That's Vitco Foods. They engage in federal group stalking and monitoring at B&G Plaza. So let me also let you know what Cornwell is engaged in. Anticipating what I have already done before, standing here and documenting license plates. So this is the provision of ongoing light activity at that intersection. That's exactly what he's doing. That's keeping light activity. That's exactly what they were doing at HOLT last night. As I told you, the third-party group stalkers sitting in their cars, leaving their headlights on as they're sitting parked in front of T-Mobile. That's the same stalking with light conduct everywhere that I go. That's what they're doing, and that's what he's using the Cornwell vehicle for. 8JYA104. Regardless of that, what you have is the creation of light activity under the incredible circumstance of a fake sun, with which the state is monitoring, and 1469663, City of Ontario, is monitoring and molesting, acting in concert with all of the rest of them, including this license plate, this third party 7RZN700211B27. It's an out-of-state plate. 08436Y2, 6CJR192, 8CQP178, 7XCN835, 6BOC801, 6FXD974, 5W46919, 7UFT206, 8GAS935, 7656083, 8RNU173, 8NZC548. They're monitoring at Norman's Auto Repair, at Castro's Auto Towing. This goes without saying, in relevant position. Just letting you know who was out creating activity, who was stalking in relevant position. And that is 8RZE773, 8MZ264, 6ZLE445, 88140V1, 8TRX593. This is 5ZEM652, 6PMZ780. Oh, you can scratch that. That's a paper plate. I can't read that one anyway. It's a paper plate. Actually, this license plate, it says like it's a for sale vehicle. It's got a license plate on it. So that's a license plate of a vehicle that's supposedly for sale. 3KMK391 left what is in front of the surveillance cameras at 435 South Bonview. He was monitoring with Cornwell, monitoring with Vanessa, monitoring with 435 South Bonview, the totality of that venue, 5TJX465, and now driving north on Bonview under the fake sun that is now no longer remaining over 435, because I'm not there anymore, and will be over Holt Boulevard, where all these group stalkers are also in relevant position as they're driving up the street. The state's fake sun is moving. 8TX297, 8TX7297. I can't really see that. I'll get closer right now. The state is using the train as a means of ongoing audible activity under the light source. BTX looks like, I'll get that one in a minute. 7XMJ946. This is DTV SP1. Some white van. He's a sex offender. Oh, it's a he. It looks like a he anyway. 8TXZ297 is the license plate of that black BMW. That is 8LGV961 of Marin's Auto Electric. 6CWB739, in case I didn't read that one already. All right, they are all patrolling under the light source. 837YX, UPTWNJ, 8POA622, 6NVJ 323, 78981H1, 6VPO 376, 7ZLY 475, 8PGJ068, 84031N2, 11404112, 8CPG 469, I believe, 6ZYC20, 5AIY 845, 6JKH 503, 5LJL 192, 8PVE 192. You're a group stalker in airport mobile towing, California license 142517. 3G 10622, 7PBE 158, 8HGL 865. DHE truck, license WPO2276, California U.S. dot number 30694. 8AEF 322, 8DFG 021, 4ZBZ 053, 5GCC 533, 5LJS 229, 08521N2, 7JXL 747, 6UYF 939, 7FNX 493, 6GLS 563, 5XEM 673. That's audible activity by a group stalker. R48522, 3XDF761, 7FWT153, 6HHU532, 5YVR177, 8 BB0884, substantially similar, 4CCT773, RAX-ROB with a star in the middle of it, 7YLW481, 8UOZ307, 7ADF511, 6511 4M2, 7NOD865, 7PMB620, 8W51504, and again monitoring at 201 BONVIEW, monitoring at 133 BONVIEW, monitoring at this private residence. There's no address on it, let me see. It's the little shack of a house at 210 BONVIEW, there you go, on the opposite side of the street. 5KFF626, all of them driving up to the traffic cameras at BONVIEW and HOLT. 6SVX595, 7KIR244, 5VKU282, 7TVG606, 8SCM247, 6NTR067, 4478ON1, 8DCG191, 5HWX388, substantially similar. State's fake son right here over Dollar General as third-party group stalker with license plate 7ZAY624, sitting at the same intersection where the state's fake son is. And this is not the same as being over 435 BONVIEW. We have already gone over this. This is the P.O.C. While every single last one of them drives by, a rich, radiant orange light showing up on the black asphalt, moving up onto the sidewalk, while a light source is remaining over me. Oh, I got that license plate. That's impossible light activity, 37809N1. In both private and their commercial vehicles. The people of the state of California engaging in sexual violence, stalkers that are touching, 33622R2. 7DAS 777, 6YGL 757, 8AWD 885, 8RES 363, 7RPT 338, 6VET 258. And while what you have them driving by, let me show you how this is how ridiculous it is. 8AWD 885, which will be seen on the traffic cameras in the middle lane, the far left lane to go straight, not in the turning lane, to go straight on BONVIEW. As he proceeds driving north on BONVIEW past me, a stream of light touches me while he moves forward in his vehicle a couple of feet. While he is stationary, no light present. Okay, it's in operation while he's in motion. Understand that is the state creating that light activity while he's in motion. If it was such that this is also an inconsistency, it would remain even while they're stationary. It is apparent while he's moving, and it disappears while he's sitting still, and it is also that far-reaching molestation with light while that pervert drives past. Molesting with 7TXP618, 8HCR455, 7GO1221, 8BHB846, I believe. All of them sex offenders with that same ridiculous type of light activity. Why? Because they're monitored by communication devices. They're criminals. 8AEE351. Absolutely ridiculous light activity. Ridiculous light activity. But then again, when you pay attention to the detail, there is no way to engage in what is fake light activity under a fake sun. You can't do it any way that's realistic. 7AVP106. USPS is an established stalker and sex offender. 5AXJ604. 06447K1. AV50L71 paper plate. These are at the intersection of BONVIEW and HOLT. Where I'm at right now, and the state's fake sun is right over Dollar General while they're all patrolling under that same incredible occurrence. P.O.C. 3NNA340, 9Z2, excuse me. 6ZND 681, 6TJW233, excuse me. 8433 A3, substantially similar. This group stalker waiting for me to approach the drive-thru. That's the same pattern of conduct, 21142Y2 at the Dollar General parking lot, exiting onto Holt Boulevard. KITYKNS, 8LFL, 654, 67880J1. Monitoring at Raoul's Auto Trim, 828 East Holt Boulevard. Impossible light activity while 7F, 64312, 7UGV214. This is 7KOS 271, 7ADH 738, 8TBF 438, 8EBR 542, 8JTK 618. All of them sex offenders. These are psychopaths. They are monitoring with the government. That is stalking with a real fake son. California license number 0412505, Cardiel Trucking. This is on the cameras at Bonview and Holt Boulevard, a large white truck with a cream-colored trailer, engaging in P.O.C, monitoring with the rest of them, using a commercial vehicle to do so. They are with knowledge present in the path under a light source provided by the state, whereby they are intentionally crossing path, and this impossible light activity is molesting. This is why they are keeping present. That's what group stalking is. Legally, while the state is molesting with a light source, and while the state is molesting with impossible light activity with simultaneity to their crossing path, that's the sexual violence they are all engaged in. 98831A3. Again, 98831A3. 7KBT140, 8TMP731, 8MUB594, 8NWT585, 8RIS 801, 8LVH447, D204VD, 7GBT593, 7VXM983, 8MLY 163. Is Raoul's Auto Trim open today? Oh, you don't know? BJ14884, it's a paper plate. It's a third-party group stalker just chilling in a relevant position under the state's fake sun, right in front of Raoul's Auto Trim, where all these sex offenders are crossing path. 7PEG984, 7KCV 749, 7JAA 654, 1493, 6R1, 04921E2, 5PZE 611, 8HQS 073, 7BLW 969, I believe, 38588D3, 7TTP 054, 5HDL 700, 8AQF 576, 860, let's see that one, 86001U2, 6RMW 926, 7MBL 187, 6REK 798. This is a Mustang parked in front of J&V Auto Accessories at 802 Holt Boulevard, monitoring again. I'm in relevant position. They're sex offenders and they're criminal facilitators of that sexual violence and monitoring. 7MBL 187, 7GDY 992, monitoring me to this activity created. 7JIT 124, CJH 2368, Texas plate. All right, activity and light that they're creating together, 6SDA 719. This is one ginormous orgy while they're monitoring with communication devices over an American citizen. 8CLJ 137, 86787 7XL. That is 7GEJ 311, 5DNT 108, 8TDB 502, 8758, G2, substantially similar. City of Ontario, we've already got them. They are established sex offenders, egregious stalkers. They're psychopaths in City of Ontario vehicles, literally. That's the same as USPS, UPS, Amazon Prime, any other commercial you want to, company you want to name. They're psychopaths engaged in the same satanic P.O.C. 8RCL199, 6MTM 182. And again, that is a third-party group stalker engaging in criminal facilitation, use of their vehicle. That's a behavioral pattern, stalking with light. That is criminal facilitation. That's in front of J&V Auto Accessories, specifically to be prosecuted for that threat that they are posing to an American citizen. 8GDL 725, 5HVC 578, 7379 OC2, 8DEH 418. 8RZX 006, 4PGC 805. Zero 2522 W2 3XNR 473 5 NUB 189 5X2 1997 8AXW 220 8FAF 074 8RIF 645 6TEE 830 7XBS 703 511 15S1 6ZBJ 843 8SDP 553 8TPY 433 monitoring at Cardenas using Toyo tires company vehicle parked right in front of the street that I'm walking down, using light activity with its brake lights. License plate 48162E2, a group stalking psychopath sex offender, aware of the fact that they're being documented as well. California license number 110720. Monitoring at Cardenas, engaging in criminal facilitation 5ZRA368. A psychopath making a U-turn as I stop in order to get that license plate of that third-party psychopath sex offending group stalker in the Toyo tires van, monitoring with all the rest of them. All right, that is a group stalker, that license plate that I read. He's engaging in what is making a U-turn, which is the creation of substantial impossible light activity and audible activity in relevant position where I stop motion. Okay, that's the behavioral pattern. That's called stalking with activity. That's called stalking by entity. They maintain presence as you do anything new, different. 8 CFX 214, 8 NJM 435, 390LN handicap, 6 SRK 035. 7 BDE 074, 8 BSM 5650 Washington plate. Are you trying to go forward? What are you doing? This is a group stalker engaging in assault with a deadly weapon. 8 SVK 205, 5 DBH 560. That is 6R 44378. 8 EZY 952. Right, third parties driving west, all they are incriminating each other, all right? They are engaging in ongoing threats with the use of criminal, 7RNX 101. I am at, by the way, Campus and Holt Boulevard in front of Kegel's at the nearest address of Leading Innovation Motorsports, 654 East Holt Boulevard. Where impossible light activity moving all across, as I've shown in video. 7LSL275 is monitoring to that impossible light activity. 8PHS306 monitoring to that plane activity over this parking lot as I walk past. 7VSA 801. At Melrose, I'm sorry, this is Malcolm. 7KJU 646, I believe. 8PJL419. That's an accurate plate. It is the absence of coincidence. It is the capturing of closeted psychopaths who are sex offenders, habitual ones. 8 CEW 392, including Omnitrans. 5 VEV 567, 8 EGT 051, 5746383. Omnitrans number 2356, license 130242. All right, understand the state just flew over me in plane. UPS stalking with light behind the Omnitrans bus. Impossible light activity all over the asphalt. That bus driven by a heavy-set Latino male. That is again 1302442. UPS license 70141C1. Driving in traffic with the hazards on. No reason for hazards. Understand they exploit their use of their vehicles for purposes of hazards, and they actually overuse it. Amazon Prime engaging in what was legally parking at the library. No need for them to use their hazards. They're using it as a means of creating light activity. All right, and doing so because they're using a male vehicle, so it's accepted it's presumably acceptable for them to use their hazards. Driving down the street in traffic with everybody else, nothing's hanging on your vehicle, no reason for you to be using your hazard lights whatsoever, other than the fact that you are a carrier and you're exploiting that fact while you are stalking with light, period. I'm just giving you context as to how they are engaging in their outward form, relying on that which is legally irrelevant. Under their federal prosecution, UPS is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring using their vehicles, using their employees, and using their planes. And their sexual offenders, violent ones, 7 UTW 707. Criminal facilitation of that criminal conduct targeting an American citizen. And by the way, their planes are inevitably captured using, for purposes of stalking and monitoring me. That is irrefutably already documented. UPS is engaged in egregious level of criminally threatening an American citizen and criminal facilitation of that threat, including that sexual violence inherent to that criminal pattern of conduct. That's P.O.C. And they were driving west on HOLT Boulevard with their hazard lights on. 6UXH597, I believe. I am at the AutoZone in Wendy's, passing Melrose and, Melrose on HOLT, 7TLF 000, 7YYD 878, 6AG Y 916, I believe. FX 444, 6PER 042. Let's see, group stalkers sitting in their car here at AutoZone in relevant position. Understand the same exact hallmarks remain present. It is another method of being engaging in relevant positioning. That is being in the path, just sitting in your car as I walk past 6GGJ770, fake sun over the parking lot. Same exact conduct, okay? VHA0CBA, that's Arizona plate. 4LGH621. These are third parties representing their presence here in the AutoZone parking lot, monitoring me, whether they're inside of the Wendy's, whether they're inside of the dumpster in this parking lot, whether they're inside of the AutoZone building. That is P.O.C. It's currently 3:51 p.m. and I am at Pleasant Avenue and HOLT Boulevard. Understand everybody in traffic on HOLT is engaged in monitoring. And they are literally psychopaths that are listening and counting down their time of being on the, they're already on the public stage. They're waiting for that day for the guillotine to literally cut off their neck. That's what they're waiting on, and they're literally monitoring it. I'm getting as many names as possible because they're all going on that guillotine. This is 89380S2, 8MBZ128, GASAVRR 48449T2, 6DSP054, 4ATK530, 7ZAJ280, 5XUR660, 8L54334, 5ZXL836. Omnitrans going eastbound right now. I am on their camera. License plate 1545906, bus number 2349, P.O.C. 46176B3, substantially similar. Impulsive light activity, strolling, what is remaining backwards, aiming toward me as they've already passed me. That's the stalking with light. That's a psychopath. Whew, that is the state and the driver. 7FDAD520, 7TQG980, 7KAX020, 8HGL686. This is 7JQY584, 8RWP736. I'm at Sultana and HOLT Boulevard. And by the way, the state's fake sun, not over 435 South BONVIEW like it remains since I was there this morning for hours. which the sun is never present and certainly not remaining over a specific address for a series of hours. It is here while I am at the corner of Sultana and Holt, where 45663S1 is a sex offending psychopath group stalker with that entity that is stalking with a fake sun. 8V56444, not a coincidence. This is the unveiling of a criminal system in California. 8TBF028 is a sex offender. Understand that. 67UIV 750. 8SAX132 knows exactly that this light is shooting all over the place on the walls as they're driving by. These are psychopaths. 6BRN368. 5DRY024. All right, these are, if you really want to be precise, not only legally speaking, they are criminals, they are sex offenders, they are psychopaths. But you're talking about that which are a bunch of demonically possessed minions. And that is what is required in order to engage in any of the criminal elements. This is a satanic system. 5ENL349. It's the absence of coincidence. It's the behavioral pattern. 8HCS 364. 6EGJ 668. 8AKS 716. 7V29963. 7PDB 743. 7VYX 979. And I have crossed the street, the state's fake sun, directly over Andy's Burgers as I'm walking on the west side of Holt Boulevard on the sidewalk that is abutting the Ontario Town Square apartment homes. This is impossible light activity. State's fake sun present over the same video in the morning, which the museum is literally on the opposite side of the same street. And this is where the state's fake sun is quote unquote rising. All right, this is already established in documentation. This is the ongoing documentation of what is the prosecution of the people of the state of California who are monitoring with this entity that is engaged in that asinine and self-incriminating conduct because it's monitoring via communication devices. Every threat posed by this group is that which they will suffer under federally for federal prosecution. There is no aspect of any documented threat that they are engaged in, and it all has a legal context that they will in any way escape. So that's why you document it. You document it 7GEN400. And even understand the continuation of that criminal conduct is a communication of a very serious threat posed by a government acting through the people of the state. That's an unprecedented level of a threat. And while they are mindful, because they're monitoring, aware of everything that you're documenting, that is a level of a threat for which every single last one of them are liable for, criminally liable for. That's the people of the state of California. And now that's a very vicious, violent, seriously demented sex offender who does not take no for an answer, okay? That's what that is. Everything has a legal context. Every single last one that I document, including these little minion bastard children that they use to monitor through, okay? You literally got a third party who gave their child a phone to stand in relevant position. As I walk past an Ontario Town Square apartment home, that's how pathetic they are. That's how pathetic they are. It is currently 3:57 p.m. And understand the significance of the documentation. You have third-party group stalker not parked in a space. 6RTD673 in the middle of the street, not parked in the space, just standing out, begging to be documented. And this is also, understand you have whether a group stalker that is a seriously pathetic criminal that knows that it's being documented, handing a communication device to a minor child, which, by the way, is called criminal facilitation. In no way is that any avoiding prosecution. These are all the tactics that a public entity engages in. Take note, because federal law is going to address every single last ounce of it. So like I was saying, that third party in that license plate is monitoring with that minor child, in addition to all the rest of them in their homes, sitting in their cars as they're crossing path in reverse, meaning waiting for me to walk past. There's stalkers in the parking garages. There's stalkers in their apartments, monitoring via communication devices. All right, understand that that's considered conduct. and as explicit as I might be, but I'm sorry, I do not give any respect whatsoever to criminals. I certainly have no respect for those who are direct hypocrites in violation of the law, and on a diligent level of doing so. It is a level of that which I am in no way respecting whatsoever, and sometimes you may hear that being reflected in my language, as professional as I try to maintain myself with regard to what is the focus, and that is federal legislation, federal prosecution, because that's the focus. But being aware of the system, being aware of the criminal tactics, and like documenting it step by step and all the tactics that they engage in, it is pathetic. It's seriously pathetic. But it's important to note it's informative, it's educational, because these are those which in no way it needs to be understood how a public entity acts, and it's desperate. It is pathetic. It is boundless in many ways. They reach to the depths of depravity in order to engage in that, including using their minor children in order to engage in any of the criminal elements, including relevant position with a communication device. It's currently 4 p.m. That's P.O.C. I'm at third-party facilitating venue, Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, where the state's fake sun is directly in front of the venue, okay? That is not the same thing as being over 425 South BONVIEW, where the state was aiming light inside of that venue. This is P.O.C. Hi. No.
Are you gonna use a computer?
Yeah. Can I make one?
Yeah. I'll put you on as a walk-in, and then your name?
Well, it's 4 o'clock right now, right? Yeah, can I make one for right now?
Yeah.
Erica Spencer. Impossible light activity as she opens the door, streaming across the columns outside of the building. FedEx is driving by, and that is license plate 7S 87399. Group stalking with the library. That's P.O.C. Light moving across the building. I'm on the security cameras. That's P.O.C. It's 4:01 p.m.
Please stay close for taking temperature. Normal temperature.
Thank you. All right, I will be seen. I wasn't saying hi to you. I will be seen referencing the security cameras where the state's light source is aiming light into the venue, and they are all monitoring. That's what you're seeing. This is surrounding as I walk to reservation station number 2. You've got group stalkers on the opposite side of this computer. You've got group stalkers right behind me in this room, while impossible light activity is being aimed inside of the front of the venue. And the state is always flying over by plane and helicopter. All right, this is the malice with which third parties, that is the people of the state of California, engage in monitoring with that entity. This is Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. That's P.O.C. It's 5:34 p.m. I'm sitting under the shaded area beside Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. And again, I exited walking, seen on the surveillance cameras, exiting out of the restroom of that third-party facilitating venue, where, by the way, impossible light activity was aiming onto the desk, the top portion of the desk partition, while the group stalkers inside, employees and patrons alike, walk past, and their shadows are moving across that light that's manifesting on the partition at the top of the desk, while I'm uploading videos from 2019 of group stalking and monitoring at this venue and throughout San Bernardino and Ontario, which also included Ontario police. Understand the psychopath that is the state of California that is stalking in planes and police vehicles engaged in repeating that which they are monitoring about their criminal activity. So as I uploaded videos of the Ontario police group stalking in October of 2019, September of 2019, acting with the people of the state of California for what is the maintenance of presence while they are monitoring an American citizen at third-party facilitating venue Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. That's what the substance of what I uploaded onto YouTube and onto my Google Share Drive as I walk out, which is on surveillance cameras at 10:32 p.m. As I'm walking out of the restroom, I go to the water fountain, and I walk straight out of the building at the same time, which is the absence of coincidence. Understand, this is a threat communicated by Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. This is a threat communicated by the state that is engaging in driving past Wells Fargo's surveillance cameras at the same time, meeting me as I'm exiting out of this venue. And this is Ontario Police that drives what is east on C Street and then turns south onto Lemon, meeting me in front. That is on intentional conduct. Not only is that monitoring, they're in relevant position. The state is still stalking with its light, lighting up the sky with its orange light. This is not the sun, and this is remaining with light. This is also that which is the reaction to that which they are monitoring. And this is the third party, Ontario OVITT Family Community Library and Ontario Police, that are communicating that mutual threat together. P.O.C. inside of that venue, P.O.C. as I exit, listening to me in the bathroom, aware of my presence at the time I'm walking out of the door, and Ontario Police meeting me on those cameras. Again, and that as I start this podcast at 5:34 p.m., that is the state that you hear flying over my head as I'm sitting at the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. That's P.O.C. Okay, 5:37 p.m., and that is the ongoing plain activity, directly incriminating every group stalker that is a sex offender inside of Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. That's P.O.C.